Thanks for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers this Friday morning. And we've got a host of them with us. Interesting headlines, as we shall soon see. Let's check out the Daily Independent now. And it's bringing up yet another message by President Tinubu of Nigeria to the United Nations during the General Assembly. And he's quoted as saying the world will ignore Nigeria at its own peril, and says until Nigerians have risen out of poverty, he will not rest. This and more on Daily Independent, and that is still being reflected on the front page of Voice of Liberty, the next paper at hand. UNGA, it says, UNGA, that is the UN General Assembly, President Tinubu to the delegates there, saying African nations will no longer accept oppression from powerful nations. Okay, that's another takeaway by the president, stating his stance to the outside world. Nigerian News Direct has a different lead headline story. Illegal mining is the dominant story on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct. Africa will no longer permit smuggling of weapons, mineral resources. That's still from the president, who seems to be leading the pack so far from the newspapers this morning. Pledges to avoid rest until every Nigerian is lifted out of poverty. This is yet another takeaway from the UN General Assembly. President Tinubu speaking there about his stance on illegal mining. And finally is The Nation, still on the president's move and message to the world. Is also said to be wooing Nigerians in the U.S. to invest back home, overcome setbacks, adopt new mindsets. The president in a message there this time around to Nigerians living in the U.S. Ibrahim.
Yes, this day newspaper is the first with me here, and it says, following Tinubu's appeal, judge adjourns CSU record case to Monday. Following Tinubu's appeal, judge adjourns CSU records case to Monday. That's this day newspaper. Leadership newspaper is next. Depleting number of justices overstretches Supreme Court. Justices now 11 as Amina Orji bows out. Depleting number of judges overstretches Supreme Court. Justices now 11 as Amina Orji bows out. That's the leadership newspaper. Blueprint is next. Justice Orji at valedictory says Supreme Court drowning under overwhelming caseload. Tasks 10th Assembly on amendments to the Constitution. Justice Orji at valedictory, Supreme Court drowning under overwhelming caseload, tasks 10th Assembly on amendments of the Constitution. That's the Blueprint newspaper. The Daily Times newspaper is next. Edo 2024 succession crisis. Obaseki chases deputy away, relocates office to private group. Obaseki chases deputy away, relocates office to private group. That's Edo 2024 succession crisis. That's the Daily Time reporting there. Business Day newspaper. Trilemma of high petrol, diesel, gas prices strain Nigerians. Trilemma of high petrol, diesel, gas prices strain Nigerians. That's the Business Day newspaper. Next is the Punch newspaper. Federal government pay 1.68 trillion naira fuel subsidy. Marketers forecast 900 naira per litre. Federal government may pay 1.68 trillion naira fuel subsidy. Marketers forecast 900 naira per litre. That's according to the Punch newspaper. The Nigerian newspaper is next. FCTA revokes 166 plots in Asokoro, Maitama, others. Obi, Dariye, Imoke, Agabi, Udoma, Nikki, Toby, Julius Berger, and Honeywell among ex-governors, former ministers, and others, top Nigerian companies. That's some of the people and companies that have been affected by the FCTA revocation of 166 plots in Asokoro, Maitama, and other places. That's on the front page of This Nigeria. The Guardian newspaper is next. Paradox of plenty. Nigeria loses 1 trillion naira yearly importing active pharmaceutical ingredients. Paradox of plenty. Nigeria loses 1 trillion naira yearly importing active pharmaceutical ingredients. That's the Guardian newspaper. Daily Trust is next. Naira crosses 1,000 naira to the dollar in black market. Cost of living will increase. That's experts talking there. Naira crosses 1,000 to the dollar in black market. Cost of living will increase. Experts. Nature News is last but not least. Anchor borrower scheme. Farmers lament losses from CBN loan scheme and flood disaster. AFAN, that's AFAN, blames CBN for exacerbating food crisis in the country. Anchor borrower scheme. Farmers lament losses from CBN loan scheme and flood disaster. AFAN blames CBN for exacerbating food crisis in the country. That's according to the Nature newspaper. Kemi.
All right, there's so much before us, so many options, so many lead stories.
Yeah.
Of course, the United Nations for a Friday, but of course, you know, there really is no dull day for journalists as ourselves. Definitely. And of course, the United Nations General Assembly is also, there's still so much to observe there, and we know that, you know, during the course of the day, there will still be some more stories that will serve as talking points. But let's discuss another story that, you know, has generated reactions, diverse reactions in Nigeria, and that's the retirement, the valedictory session for a retiring justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Amina Oge, who is bowing out gracefully, I should say, at the compulsory age of, upon her attainment of the compulsory age of 70. And events like this, I know you would also know that it goes beyond the fact that a jurist or a judicial officer is leaving the bench. You know, it's a fine opportunity for the valedictorian to give her parting shots. And in her words, in Justice Amina, now retired, in her words, she said this would be the last time that she would address people or speak in at the Supreme Court. And of course, there were so many suggestions, recommendations, having served, walked through as a lecturer of the Nigerian Law School and reaching the exalted position of a Supreme Court justice, one of the few women who are there. Of course, there are other women there doing great jobs, you know, but, you know, she is one who has handled a lot of cases politically and, you know, otherwise. And the commendations from far and near speak to the kind of the quality of judge or justice that Justice Amina Oge was there during her days as a judge. But one of the issues now before us upon her exit
of the blueprint newspaper
is what we see on the blueprint. And the headline story reads, Supreme Court drowning over overwhelming caseload. This is not the first time we've heard this. Earlier in the week, too, the CJA and Kayode Ariwola, Justice Ariwola, also said as much that politicians should, can I use the term, allow them breathe, because there are so many cases now before the Supreme Court, and by extension the judiciary now, that has to do with, you know, politics, politicians, their parties, and all whatnot.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a very good one, and the fact that she's also taking a bow from the
service, right?
Yeah, from service. It's a good one. And when I saw her yesterday, when she was delivering a speech, you know, she was also excited, and you see someone who had reached the apogee of her career, you know, taking a bow. So I also want to call for the government to ensure that our judges are safe, they're given adequate security, and they should also review their salary. They should, you know, have it at the back of their mind that, you know, these are the people who administer justice, you know, for any warring parties, and they really need to live a good life. But she said one thing that is quite striking as well, which is saying that the task's 10th Assembly on amendments of the Constitution. You know, we've been talking about amending the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that we should amend it to reflect our aspirations, our yearnings and aspirations. We should also look at how this will reflect the people of Nigeria, because they said from the beginning of the Constitution, we the Nigerian people, but then they said we were not there when it was written. It was just written by few people, and this does not really reflect the Nigerian people, really. So a part of it has been the local government autonomy that has been set to be revisited. Granting the local government autonomy so that we'll have them empowered, right, so that they will be able to give the dividends of governance or good governance to the Nigerian people, and also to reduce the power at the center. You said one of the most powerful presidents in the world is the Nigerian president because of the power that he or she wields. So that's part of it. We also talked about the state policing. That the Constitution should be able to reflect the state policing for adequate security of the Nigerian people. So many things to be addressed in the Nigerian Constitution. All
right. It's an ongoing conversation, and, the message has been sent loud and clear to the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, who incidentally was a student of the exiting Justice Amina Oge at the Nigerian Law School, and she attested to that, and she sent a message to him for that issue of constitutional amendment.